is making the headlines. Police in Edo confirms Kano hunters were armed, not tertiary institutions. Fitch upgrades Nigeria on policy reforms. Pope salutes crowd in Vatican Square on Palm Sunday. Football legend Charles Bassey is dead. Ghana's Black Stars better than Super Eagles, says Fireboy.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economic, sports, and documentaries. So catch all your bits on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today. On 18.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honorable
you human traffickers.
Honorable they are not picking our calls. They made up their minds.
So no agreement with the EU, but
And now to the stories in details. Edo State Police Command says 4 men arrested with firearms in the state were hunters from Kano State, not herdsmen, as being speculated on social media. A statement signed by the command spokesperson Moses Joel Yamu said the 4 men, Yusuf Abdul Karim, Mujahid Garba, Shitu Idris and Jamilu Habibu, were intercepted by operatives of the Edo Security Network and handed over to police officers at Ikwoba Hill Division. Yamu said items recovered from the suspects include 3 Dane guns, 6 empty cartridges, 3 half-filled cartridges, 4 cutlasses and 2 daggers, adding that contrary to claims circulating online that armed herdsmen were arrested at a hotel in the state. Investigations revealed that the suspects were hunters who had traveled from Dogowa in Kano State to Uvbe community in Oriomwong local government area of Edo State. The State Commissioner of Police, Monday Agbonika, urged residents to avoid spreading unverified information that could cause unnecessary panic and tension. Edo State government and People's Democratic Party have traded words over Governor Monday Okpebolo's declaration of kickstarting President Bola's re-election campaign. Okpebholo disclosed these when he received another member of the Edo State House of Assembly, KC Osanwoyi, who defected from the PDP to the ruling All Progressives Congress. A statement by its publicity secretary, Chris Nehikare, said it was disappointed in Okpebholo, declaring the governor's statement as reckless, adding that the governor's action and comment contravened Section 94, subsection 1 of the Electoral Act 2022, which explicitly states that the period of campaigning in public by every political party shall commence 150 days before polling day and end 24 hours prior to that day. In his response, the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Fred Itua, in a statement, accused the PDP of misinterpreting Okpebholo's remark and has at no time violated any section of the Electoral Act, including Section 94, subsection 1, as falsely alleged by the Edo factional PDP. Deadly thunderstorm has claimed 3 lives, injuring 4 others in Obudi community, Agua, located in Oguta local government area of Imo State. The tragic incident was preceded by rainfall in the evening, according to residents of the area. The thunderstorm caught everyone off guard as the rain was relatively light, and following the incident, there was widespread panic in the community, with residents questioning why such a catastrophic event occurred under seemingly normal weather conditions. People of Umuagua Autonomous Community in Imo State have called for the immediate release of 2 of their youth leaders who are being detained by the State Police Command for allegedly being members of indigenous people of Biafra. The youths were named as Chima Meka, the youth leader of the community, and Chidera Meka, the chief security officer. A community leader, Obinna Meka, who is also a relative to the detained youth leaders, said the suspects were arrested after honoring an invitation by the army at Ukorji checkpoint along Onitsha Road. He said upon honoring the invitation, the 2 youth leaders were taken to 34 Artillery Brigade, Obinze, where they were detained for 2 months before being taken to the police anti-kidnapping unit. Obinna appealed to Governor Hope Uzodinma and the State Police Commissioner Aboki Danjuma to intervene in the matter and secure the release of the youth leaders, adding that they are not IPOB members. He also said the 2 detained individuals have never indulged in any antisocial activities, and the community has not recorded any activities of the IPOB or ESN in recent times. Obinna recounted that everything started when soldiers apprehended one Chimobi Ononiwu, who they suspected of being an IPOB member, and on searching his phone, they allegedly discovered that they shared the same social media platform with the community youth leader. According to Obinna, Ononiwu, however, revealed that the particular platform is a general WhatsApp group created by the youths of the community for the purpose of disseminating information. Obinna maintained that the arrested youth leaders are not IPOB members, but responsible leaders in the community, and appealed to the state governor and commissioner of police to effect their release. Well, Anambra State Police Command has arrested the suspect Nnamdi Anyaji for killing his mother and attempted to commit suicide. This is coming after the 49-year-old Anyaji, an indigene of Amudo village in Ekulobia, Aguata local government area of Anambra State, killed his mother, Dorothy Anyaji, aged 68 years, and also attempted to kill himself before he was stopped and apprehended by neighbors. He killed his mother during an altercation over their sharing of money realized from a cassava business. The Anambra State Police spokesman, Tochukwu Ikenga, who confirmed the arrest of the suspect in a press statement on Sunday, said police operatives also recovered 1 axe at the scene of the incident, and the police had arrested over 12 suspects for the possession of illicit drugs and recovered exhibits during a police raid in Orumba North. A statement on Sunday, Ikenga said the suspects and the drugs have been handed over to NDLEA. Commissioner of Police in Ondo State, Wilfred Afolabi, has ordered the immediate redeployment of the divisional police officer in charge of Igbara Oke Division, Ganiu Dauda, accused of extortion. The command spokesperson, DSP Olushola Ayanlade, in a statement on Sunday in Akure, said the DPO was redeployed over allegations of extortion leveled against him by residents of the community. This is coming after residents of Igbara Oke community in Ifedore local government area of the state had on Friday protested against alleged extortion by the DPO, adding that the DPO was redeployed following a viral video circulating on social media where he was publicly accused of extortion by the aggrieved protesters during a heated altercation. Ayalade, while reiterating the command's commitment to transparency, accountability, and community trust, urged members of the public to remain calm and allow for due process in handling the matter. Alleged motorcycle snatchers on Sunday burnt to death by a mob on Akbere Road in Wurukum, Makodi, the Benue State capital. A resident, Joshua Akko, said two men snatched a motorcycle and were seen pushing it when a lady identified it as a stolen bike. Spokesperson for the Benue State Police Command, CSP Catherine Anene, could not be reached for information at the time of this report, as calls to her mobile telephone were not answered. A Federal Capital Territory Police Command has arrested 88 individuals during coordinated rights raids across various parts of Abuja. The operations were executed by operatives of several police divisions, including Lokogoma, Maitama, Use, Kubwa, Gwagwa, Dutse, Alhaji, Karmo, Dawaki, Wuye, Utako, and Wari. The raids focused on criminal black spots and uncompleted buildings suspected to be used as hideouts by criminal elements within the jurisdictions. During the sweep, operatives recovered quantities of dried leaves suspected to be Indian hemp, along with other illicit substances, and all 88 suspects are being held in custody, undergoing screening and interrogation at the respective police divisions, and the suspects found to be involved in criminal activities will be charged to court, while those cleared during investigations will be released. Paramount King of the Ong in Adamawa State, the Tol Uba, Alheri Bulus Nyako, has spoken of a resolve by his people to stand up against any further attacks by insurgents. The royal father, fielding questions from newsmen who called at his palace over recent attacks by Boko Haram in communities around his chiefdom, said his people have decided that running from the terrorists is unhelpful, adding that an attack in 2023 involving abduction of 53 people, 40 of who are yet to return home, have kept the community in persistent mourning of the loved ones in captivity. The Tol Huba, whose coronation as the paramount ruler of Hong was done in February this year, said attackers of whatever calling will no longer have it easy anywhere around his domain. The Hong King's assertions rhyme with the opinion of many security specialists who have maintained that Boko Haram have become ineffective in many parts of the northeast because people in such areas dared to mobilize and fight back. Kano State government has defended its blasphemy laws against a verdict by the ECOWAS Court of Justice, asserting the constitutional right to uphold religious sanctity within its jurisdiction. The ECOWAS Court's judgment, which declared sparked a fierce debate. A statement by the State Commissioner for Information and Internal Affairs, Ibrahim Weya, said Kano remained unyielding, citing its legal authority to protect the values and beliefs of its predominantly Muslim population, respect for international opinions, and ensuring that laws are a reflection of the people's will. While acknowledging the ECOWAS Court's judgment, Weya reaffirmed the state government's commitment to the protection of religious sanctity and public order, where state legislatures are empowered to legislate on matters within the concurrent legislative list, including criminal law. Father and his two sons have been killed in Zogo Village, Miango District, Bassa local government area of Plateau State. The spokesperson of Irigwe Development Association, Sam Jugo, who confirmed the incident to journalists in Jos, gave the names of the victims as Wei Gebe, Zu Wei, and Henry Wei, adding that the victims were killed while they were asleep. Spokesperson of Operation Safe Haven, Major Samson Zakom, and the State Police Command, Alabo Alfred, have not responded to confirmation messages. Plateau State Governor Caleb Mufwang has ordered a census of people living in the area and the need for proper documentation of residents as a step towards recovering communities occupied by terrorists in the state. He made the order during a visit to the Tiop community in the Mango local government area of the state, adding that the governor's move aims to address the growing security concerns in the state, where 64 communities have been occupied by terrorists. The governor condemned the arrangement where indigenous populations are chased out of their ancestral homes, calling it a ploy to keep people in poverty and stressed the need for law-abiding citizens, adding that the state cannot afford to be lawless. The governor appealed for a peaceful engagement with the occupants and urged security agencies to take charge. Mufwang, who also visited other communities recently attacked by bandits in the Bacchus local government area, including Horti, Daho, and other severely affected areas, interacted with the internally displaced persons in the council. The governor said he was moved by their harrowing conditions, especially those of women and children, and encouraged the displaced residents not to abandon their ancestral lands to strangers and land grabbers, and stressed the need for unity, resilience, and vigilance in the face of adversity. Addressing youths in the affected communities, the governor urged them to resist distractions and channel their energies toward protecting their people and heritage, as they are the future leaders of their areas, and acknowledged the president's support and pledged to facilitate stronger security measures. Speaking to displaced persons at Horti in the Manguno district, the governor reaffirmed his administration's unwavering commitment to rebuilding the destroyed communities and ensuring the safe return of all displaced persons to their homes, adding that the government is doing everything within the law to provide adequate security, particularly in Bacchus local government area, to allow farmers access the lands. Troops under Operation Safe Haven have uncovered a plot by Islamic State West African Province to establish operational bases in Plateau and Bauchi states. According to a statement signed by OPSH's media officer, Major Samson Zakom, on Sunday, troops arrested 2 suspected ISWAP members during a sting operation on April 11 around the Yalwa area in the Shandam local government area of Plateau State. The suspects, identified as 25-year-olds Abdul Kadir Dalhatu and Ubaidu Hassan, were said to be operating under the cover of tailoring to secretly facilitate ISWAP's expansion into the north-central states, while preliminary investigations revealed that they were sent by an ISWAP commander to set up no cells in Plateau and Bauchi. Meanwhile, tragedy struck the Zogu community in Miango district of Basa local government area after terrorists reportedly killed a man and his 2 sons in an early morning attack, and the victims were identified by the Irigwe Development Association, adding that the way criminal elements invaded the motherland and killed with impunity seems to suggest a more sinister motive than mere reprisal for alleged wrongs. Well, Jigawa State government has warned against selling or diverting agricultural inputs meant for the 2025 rice dry season farming program in the state, stating that it will deal with anyone found diverting farm inputs meant for farmers. Governor Umar Namadi made the warning at the launch of the dry season rice farming program in Jura village in Oyo local government area, adding that under the program, over 58,000 farmers will benefit from the subsidized agricultural inputs. He said the move is part of the present administration's commitment to improving agricultural production and food security in the state, and its government has established an ambitious target of 3.6 million metric tons of annual rice production, with diligent farmers, committed stakeholders, and supportive partners towards ensuring that the goal is achieved. With diligent farmers, committed stakeholders and supportive partners towards ensuring that the goal is achieved. He urged farmers to continue supporting government policies and programs aimed at diversifying the state economy, and also promised to take action against anybody found selling or diverting the inputs. Jigawa State Ministry of Basic Education says the resumption date for public and private schools in the state is Monday this week. According to the Commissioner, Dr. Lawan Danzomo, schools will resume on Monday for the commencement of the 2024-2025 third-term academic session. Danzomo, in a press conference in his office in Dotse, the state capital, said boarding students will resume on Sunday while the day students will join their counterparts on Monday, and appealed to parents and guidance to send their wards back to school on the resumption day, assuring them that the ministry was provided by all necessary teaching aids to facilitate effective teaching and learning. Danzomo also called on teachers to be in their schools and ensure the immediate commencement of lessons, adding that the ministry has posted staff to monitor the resumption and commencement of lessons in schools at 2027 elections in the state. The stakeholders' move came to public knowledge when members comprising former councillors and representatives from wards in the Bernin Kudu local government area held a special meeting to discuss issues affecting the party and how to fortify it at the local and ward levels. Speaking to journalists shortly after the meeting at Bernin Kudu, a former councillor from Surko ward, Bernin Kudu, Ado Nagoda, said the meeting was organized by the Association of Former Councillors of the PDP Bernin Kudu local government area with the aim to promoting unity and cohesion among party members. According to Nagoda, the meeting consisted of all former councillors, representatives from the 11 wards in the local government and party officials who he considered necessary to prevent factionalism within the party. Despite recent defections, Nagoda assured all that the PDP structure remains intact and urged members to remain loyal to ensure the party's success in future elections, adding that some party members have been engaging in activities that undermine the party's unity, while some members lacking in true democracy have been going round political wards to divert the attention of supporters into camps for their personal ambitions. He also stressed the need for members to remain focused on what he called the principles of the party and Lamido, especially the party's leadership in the state and a national chieftain as well. You're watching the Global News on Atlantic Television Network. We'll be back after this break. Do stay with us.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economic, sports, and documentaries. So catch all your hits on the happenings around the world. Stay focused on the fact today. On ATN.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honorable
You human
On the point of order.
Honorable
You are a human
On the point of
But they are not picking our calls. They made up their minds.
So no agreement with the EU, but
Welcome back. You're watching the Global News on Atlantic Television Network. And now to the rest of our stories. President Bola Tinubu has directed relevant education regulatory bodies to intensify efforts in clamping down on illegal tertiary institutions operating across Nigeria. Speaking at the 14th convocation of the National Open University of Nigeria in Abuja, the President ordered the National Universities Commission, the National Board for Technical Education, and other agencies to take decisive action against what he described as certificate mailers, undermining the credibility of the education sector. Tinubu, who was represented by the Director of University Education at the Federal Ministry of Education, Rakia Ilyasu, warned that the integrity of the academic system must not be compromised, stressing that government institutions are working in alignment to improve the quality of education and ensure that cases of forgery and unrecognized institutions both within and outside the country and have no place in the education ecosystem. At the convocation, 51 inmates from correctional centers across the country graduated from NOUN, including 41 undergraduates and 10 postgraduates, while the event also featured the conferment of honorary degrees on the president of the African Development Bank Group, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, and the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Abbas Tajuddin. Tinubu also tasked NOUN to lead the country's transition into a digitally skilled economy, urging the university to embrace full online learning in line with its open and distance learning model. Minister of Housing and Urban Development Ahmed Dangiwa says the Renewed Hope, a social housing program, will soon be launched in 774 local government areas by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as part of initiatives to address the housing needs of Nigerians, regardless of class or income level. The minister, who disclosed these while receiving a delegation from Creative Sphere Limited at the ministry's headquarters in Mabushi, recently said the Renewed Hope social housing program was designed to provide homes for low-income earners, the unemployed, as well as vulnerable groups and internally displaced persons, covering both the formal and informal sectors. He also said the federal government's plans to construct 100 housing units in each of the 774 local government areas across the country, amounting to a total of 77,400 units, adding that construction is expected to be completed within 1 year from the date of launch. The visionary program reflects President Tinubu's commitment to ensuring that every Nigerian has access to decent housing, saying it underscores his passion for a better Nigeria where even the most vulnerable can own a livable home, adding that the program will be funded through Renewed Hope Infrastructure Development Fund. Federal government has promised immediate action in response to threats against citizens and religious leaders following testimonies by Bishop Wilfred Anagbe and Reverend Father Remigius Ihula at a recent United States congressional hearing on religious persecution. The testimonies, which were later highlighted by the U.S. Embassy in Abuja, have been criticized for misrepresenting Nigeria's security efforts and the challenges it faces. However, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, in a statement signed by its spokesperson, Kimebi Ebiemfa, expressed concern over what they described as inaccuracies represented by the religious leaders during their testimonies. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs observes with concerns the recent social media publication by the United States Embassy, Abuja, regarding the security situation in Nigeria and the testimonies provided by Bishop Wilfred Anagbe and Reverend Father Remigius Ihula on the unfortunate alleged threats that have arisen as a result of their testimonies at the U.S. congressional hearing on religious persecution in Nigeria. Federal government also rejected the portrayal of the crisis as an Islamist extermination of Christians, calling the narrative a dangerous oversimplification, adding that the security challenges faced by Nigeria are complex and affect all communities, irrespective of their religious affiliation. The government assured that it will continue to take swift action against any threat to the safety of citizens, including religious leaders, and that any reports of intimidation will be fully investigated. I think that the Nigerian government remains fully committed to upholding freedom of religion and freedom of expression, among other freedoms. Therefore, any report of threats or intimidation against religious leaders will be investigated and appropriate actions will be taken. It also said the federal government had deployed additional security forces to areas experiencing heightened tensions, ensuring that peace-building initiatives and efforts to protect citizens continue without interruption. In response to these inaccuracies, as well as deploying security forces to areas affected by communal violence, engaging in peace-building efforts between farmers and herders, strengthening intelligence operations to track down criminal elements, and implementing policies to address root causes, including land use reforms and economic development initiatives. People's Democratic Party former presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar says Nigeria does not deserve a leader like President Bola Tinubu in view of the United States District Court for the District of Columbia, where Judge Beryl Howell ordered the Federal Bureau of Intelligence to reveal Tinubu's information, including his forfeiture of funds for alleged drugs trafficking and certificate of Chicago State University. He said the black nation's most populous country does not deserve a leader with a tainted past. Speaking through his media aide, Paul Ibe, the former vice president said the world needs to know the president's records, insisting that Nigeria does not deserve a leader with a tainted past like Tinubu. While posting on X, Ibe wrote, "Just about time. The records of Tinubu, including his forfeiture of funds for alleged drugs trafficking and certificates at Chicago State University at Chicago State, are made public. I think that whatever is being hidden inside must be unveiled. Nigerians and the rest of the world deserve to know the full disclosure." The development followed a motion by Aaron Greenspan, an American who is seeking a reconsideration of an earlier ruling, while Howell said protecting the information from public disclosure is neither logical nor plausible. This is coming after Greenspan had accused the FBI of violating the Freedom of Information Act by failing to release within the statutory time documents relating to purported federal investigations into Tinubu and one Abiodun Agbele, adding that Tinubu was claimed to have forfeited $460,000 to the American government in 1993, after authorities linked the funds to proceeds of narcotics trafficking. But the judge ruled in favor of Greenspan, and responding, Tinubu's media aide, Bayo Onanuga, said there is nothing new to reveal because the reports by Agent Moss of the FBI and the DEA reports have been in the public space for more than 30 years, stressing that the reports did not indict the Nigerian leader. Stakeholders from the North Central are agitating to find a consensus and worthy candidates that could defeat President Bola Tinubu in the 2027 election if he failed to pick a running mate from the zone. The development comes on the heel of the recent summit held by party leaders and representatives from the 6 states of the North Central, namely Benue, Kwara, Kogi, Plateau, Niger, Nasarawa, and the Federal Capital Territory, adding that no decision was taken to support former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, Labour Party presidential candidate in the 2023 election, Peter Obi, or any other aspirant. Issued by the leader of the delegation and chairman of the consultative meeting they had with the popular Federal Capital Territory monarch, the owner of Abaji, His Royal Highness Alhaji Musa Baba Yunusa. The professor said they met the traditional ruler behind closed doors and not in a joint meeting with the former National Security Advisor, General Aliyu Gusau, retired, and Senator John Damboyim, as erroneously reported in a section of the media. Renowned human rights lawyer and activist Femi Falana, SAN, has urged youths to reclaim the country from older generation. Falana gave the advice in Lagos during 6th Annual Youth Leadership Conference tagged Resilience, Innovation, Social Responsibility and Entrepreneurship Rise 2025, held at the University of Lagos. Falana said things were not how they used to be. Hence, the younger generation should reclaim the country and redefine it as it should be, adding that youths were suffering as a result of what the country had become. Hence, the need for the younger generation to rise. According to him, it is very important because the youth will be inspired when they listen to them. The convener of the program, Mr. Olusegun Odufua, said the theme, the event, Rise, was more than an acronym, describing it as a call to action and declaration of intent vision of the future all Nigerians must build together, stressing that Nigeria stands at a critical juncture, bursting with talent and vibrant with diversity, yet confronted with complex challenges, economic uncertainties, infrastructure deficits, as well as youth unemployment and questions of leadership and governance. Former presidential candidate of the Labour Party and former Anambra State Governor Peter Obi has criticized the poor state of Nigeria's healthcare system, calling for an urgent redirection of national planning and investments towards health, education and poverty alleviation. Speaking as the keynote speaker at an event organized by ANAP doctors in North America and the University of Nigeria alumni at Echo Hotel, Lagos, Obi addressed the theme, Beyond Borders, Uniting for Medical Excellence, Strengthening our Alumni and Inspiring the Next Generation. A statement on Sunday via X, Obi stressed that true development should be measured by improvements in the Human Development Index rather than physical infrastructure, painted a bleak picture of Nigeria's healthcare landscape, adding that more than 70% of the country's primary healthcare centers are non-functional due to poor facilities and inadequate manpower. Comparing Nigeria to India, he said the South Asian country, despite having a population about 7 times Nigeria's, have achieved approximately 80% of the recommended doctor-to-population ratio, and India is also actively expanding its network of medical colleges. He also cited South Africa's example, stating that the country's 2024-2025 healthcare budget is more than double what Nigeria has allocated to healthcare between 2021 and 2025, despite Nigeria having over 3 times South Africa's population, and criticized the use of borrowed funds, which have not translated into visible improvements in the sector. He disclosed that Nigeria has borrowed over $11 billion from the World Bank alone between 2023 and the present for healthcare and medical education, yet the sector remains in dire need and called for an urgent realignment of government expenditure. Minister of Education Dr. Tunji Alausa has advised Nigerian graduates, such as cleaners or clerks overseas. Alausa, who disclosed this while decrying the growing trend of Nigerian youth abandoning their qualifications to pursue what he described as a subhuman life abroad, said foreigners were already recognizing Nigeria's potential and seizing the opportunities many locals ignored. The minister challenged young Nigerians to look inward rather than flee abroad in search of greener pastures. Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board has released the results of the 2025 mock Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination conducted on Thursday, April 10. JAMB disclosed this in a statement on Sunday by its spokesperson, Fabian Benjamin, urging that candidates to check their results by sending mock result in capital letter via SMS to either 55019 or 66019 using the phone number they registered with for the examination. According to the board, the mock UTME is optional and aims to test its yearly innovations while also giving candidates an opportunity to experience the computer-based test environment ahead of the main examination. The statement also said a total of 2,115 candidates initially expressed interest in participating and 2 candidates later withdrew, resulting in 2,113 registered candidates, adding that about 126,181 candidates successfully sat for the examination, and results for 115,735 of the candidates are now available for viewing, while 10,446 results are still being processed and will be released soon. JAM also acknowledged delays faced by some candidates during the mock exam and expressed regret over the inconvenience, adding that the disruptions were due to new features introduced to improve the upcoming main UTME, and urged candidates continue supporting its efforts, adding that the mock exam remains a key part of its strategy to enhance the UTME process and better prepare candidates. Well, Christians all over the world mark Palm Sunday to mark the procession of Jesus Christ into Jerusalem, as well as mark the transition of the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. In view of the developments, the chairman of the Christian Association of Nigeria in Kwara State, Bishop Sunday Adewale, has called on leaders at all levels in the country to be humble in the discharge of their duties. Adewale gave the charge while addressing critics on Nigeria's economy. According to a statement released